Welcome back to Revise and Resubmit, and welcome to another weekend book review. I'm Pavlov.
And I'm Nikita.
We've noticed a lot of you are tuning in, which is amazing, but I haven't quite hit that subscribe button yet.
Yeah, and that little button, honestly, it's so small, but it makes such a huge difference in helping us reach more people with these important discussions.
Right. It's true. Like the algorithms, those mysterious forces that decide what we all see and hear, they pay a lot of attention to subscriber numbers.
Yeah, think of it like the subscribing. It's like casting a vote for quality content, So these insightful research discussions don't just get lost in the sea of all the information out there.
More subscribers equals more visibility. Right. And that means more resources for us to make even deeper dives for you.
Yeah.
Maybe bring in experts for interviews, even do some live Q&A sessions where you can jump in.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about building a community around research,
Yeah.
where curiosity thrives and knowledge is like shared and debated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And today we're diving into entrepreneurship. Our source is James Hart's book, Classroom Exercises for Entrepreneurship.
Right, and this isn't like your typical business textbook. Hart's put it together more as a guide for instructors, really, packed with activities, discussions, ways to actually foster that entrepreneurial mindset.
So our mission here,
Well, it's to pull out the really practical stuff for you. Key ideas on creativity, customer focus, taking action.
stuff you can actually use.
Yeah, stuff you can apply like right away, no matter your background or what you're aiming for.
Okay, so let's pick things off. The book starts with this core idea, wanting to show people what it is like to entrepreneur.
And Hart really emphasizes that understanding this, it comes from seeing it from different angles, experiencing it.
Not just reading a definition.
Exactly. It's more than that. He frames entrepreneurship as, well, both something you do and something you create.
Experiential and creative.
Yes. So the book aims to boost creativity, provide tools for it, and get people involved through these experiential exercises.
Moving beyond just talking about ideas.
Right, to actually playing with them, getting your hands dirty.
Which makes a lot of sense. You can't learn to swim just by reading the manual.
Aha, exactly. You got to jump in.
And speaking of, getting those creative juices flowing, the book touches on something kind of intriguing. This idea that creativity might actually fade over time.
Oh, yeah, that's a really interesting point he makes. He shares this story visiting his daughter's elementary school, career day.
Right.
And he noticed, like, almost all the little kids, they shot their hands up. Yeah, I'm creative. Super enthusiastic.
But adults,
That's not.
far fewer.
Yeah.
And the kids were like, why would that change? It's a great question.
It really is. So Hart suggests we sort of forget or maybe suppress it. Yeah, we start worrying about being wrong, about failing, about what others think, expectations.
Like that one kid said about a drawing. How can it be wrong? It's just what it is.
Such a pure perspective, isn't it? The book points out how these pressures, even just the ones in our heads, can shut down imagination
You end up dismissing ideas before they even get going,
because you're already judging them. Is this good enough?
which leads to this other point. This whole good versus bad thing with creativity, maybe it's not the right way to look at it.
Exactly. Like the kid said, a creative work just is. It's a starting point. Labeling it good or bad immediately can be counterproductive.
Especially in entrepreneurship, right? If you're aiming for perfection right away.
You get self-censorship. You're afraid to even start if it might not be perfect.
But if you let go of that,
You open things up. More ideas, maybe unexpected connections. That's often where the real innovation happens,
get the ideas out first, refine later.
Okay.
Now, the book also really hammers home the customer focus aspect.
Oh, absolutely. What's insightful is how Hart argues this. If you genuinely build something with a customer in mind,
Your odds go up,
dramatically, yeah. He contrasts it with just making something you like and hoping others will too.
which seems risky.
It can be. And the book even has exercises specifically to show how effective focusing on the customer really is.
Okay, so we've got the creative mindset, the customer focus. How does the book actually help you develop these things? It sounds like it's all about learning by doing, experiential learning.
Totally. That's the heart of it, these experiential exercises. They're about tackling that entrepreneurial uncertainty.
But in a safe space.
In a structured way, yeah. Instructors can pick and choose demonstrations, exercises, games, simulations.
Different tools for different goals.
Right, whatever fits their style and syllabus.
So it's not just lectures, it's active. How does getting involved like that actually help build those skills?
Well, the book explains that by doing these things, you actually get to, develop, test out, experience different parts of bringing an idea to life.
moves it from theory to practice.
Exactly. You're grappling with the real challenges, the opportunities.
I saw the term serious play mentioned with games. What's that about?
That's an interesting one. The idea is that games, this serious play, can actually be really good for boosting imagination.
Okay.
They help you get comfortable in unfamiliar spots, bring some energy. It lowers the pressure, but still pushes creative thinking.
Like practicing without high stakes.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And simulations. How are they different from games?
The key difference, Hart says, is realism. Simulations aim for a cluster real-world experience of entrepreneurial action.
So less competitive, more about decision making.
Usually, yeah, you might take on a role, make choices, see the consequences, then maybe try again differently. It's about wrestling with business complexity more directly.
Okay, a really diverse toolkit. Let's dig into some specific exercises. One called Being Different and Necessary caught my eye.
Ah, yes, that one gets right to the core of building a sustainable business.
How so?
It pushes you beyond just knowing your competition. You have to figure out how to actually stand out in a meaningful way.
Okay, so how does it work? What do you actually do?
It's got a few steps. First, nail down what you offer, your product, your service.
Got it.
Then, pinpoint your customers. Who are they really? And crucially, what's your value proposition? How do you meet their needs?
Needs.
Yeah.
And the book says that's a broad definition.
Yeah, not just survival stuff. It includes wants, desires, problems they want solved.
Okay. And then the different and necessary part.
That's the final step. Articulate how you're both different from the competition and why you're necessary to your customers.
Necessary. That feels like a high bar.
It is. The book distinguishes between wants and needs. Wants drive purchases, sure, but needs, they create more consistent demand.
So for anyone listening, thinking about their own ideas,
Yeah,
how are you unique and essential?
exactly.
It's a tough question.
And the author had a personal experience with this in Norway.
Yeah, that's quite insightful. When he set up this theater entrepreneurship conservatory in Oslo,
Okay.
He kept getting asked these questions by journalists, officials. What makes you different? Why are you necessary?
because in Norway, there's maybe more focus on societal value.
That's the implication. They wanted to know its purpose beyond just profit, how it contributed.
So those questions forced him to really refine the mission.
He said it was like a years-long reflection, really helped sharpen their positioning.
Wow. Powerful stuff. Okay, another one. Ideation via image and persona building. Sounds visual.
Very visual. It uses an image as an anchor to focus on a specific customer type.
So you actually find a picture,
It-
like online.
Yep. Google image search for someone you imagine serving, find a photo.
Okay, got a face in mind. Then what?
Then you kind of build a backstory and imagine life for this person, challenges, daily routines. You make assumptions based on the image.
Right.
And you use this persona, this detailed picture, as the launch pad for generating business ideas specifically for them.
So grounding the ideas in a specific person, not just thin air. The book mentions TPS here too.
Yeah, TPS is a framework. Helps you think about the persona more deeply. It stands for talents, interests, passions, and skills.
Talents, interests, passions, skills.
Okay. Thinking about those aspects of your persona helps you generate ideas that are much more likely to actually resonate.
And there's a related exercise. Persona ideation and 3 ideas. Sounds like it builds on this.
It does, and it kind of flips the usual script, you know?
How so?
Instead of starting with your passion and finding customers later.
Which is pretty common.
Right. You start with this specific persona, this living person, and then brainstorm 3 distinct business ideas just for them, addressing their needs or wants.
Customer-centric right from the start. What are the main takeaways from doing it this way?
The book lists a few key learning goals. You practice that customer-centric ideation. You learn to spot pain points.
What problems they have.
Exactly. And also things like discretionary income, passions. It pushes you toward primary market research, even just talking to people like your persona.
And customer segmentation, understanding different groups.
Right. The overall goal is generating ideas with a higher chance of success because they're built for someone real.
Is there a worksheet to help get inside the persona's head?
Yes, with some really probing questions like, what do you love thinking about? What problems keep coming up? What do you wish existed?
What keeps you up at night?
Yeah, what are you passionate about? What would make life easier? Even like, if you got an unexpected $100, what would you buy?
Those really force you to empathize.
Definitely helps build a richer understanding.
And the book mentions what usually happens when people try this.
Yeah.
Creating ideas for a specific persona.
What's really telling is that often, when students do this for a classmate using the worksheet,
Yeah.
a big majority of the ideas are actually well received. The classmate is often like, wow, I'd actually like that, or that's exciting.
That's pretty strong evidence for the approach.
Hart presents it that way, yeah. Put the customer first, especially early on.
Okay, let's switch to something that sounds fun. Superhero powers and kryptonite. Brainstorming.
Totally. It's a team exercise designed to get creativity flowing, thinking imaginatively.
So each person identifies their superpowers.
Yeah. Your unique strengths, talents, and also your kryptonite, your weaknesses, things you find hard.
I like that framing. So once the team knows everyone's powers and weaknesses, then what?
Then they brainstorm business concepts that specifically leverage the team's combined superpowers.
Okay.
And ideally, you find a concept where one person's kryptonite is canceled out by another superpower.
Oh, interesting. Like the great speaker teams up with the numbers whiz.
Exactly. The speaker handles outreach, the numbers person handles financials. You design it so strengths are maximized and weaknesses are covered by the team.
Clever. It's idea generation and thinking about team building. Now, the book also pushes using what-if questions.
Yeah, the what if questions. Yeah. Presented as a really powerful tool for just stretching the imagination, thinking beyond current limits.
Breaking out of the box.
Completely. The book gives a bunch of examples to get you started.
Like what? Give me a couple.
Sure, like, what if you suddenly had $1 million in unlimited time? What would you do?
Big question.
Or, what if you were going to Mars with NASA? How would you prep? What business might emerge?
Okay.
What if you had access to any tool and knew how to use it instantly? What would you create? What if you didn't need sleep?
Whoa.
Or even what if you could just look at a book and absorb it all? What would you learn?
Those really do force you to think differently. It sounds like the point is just dream big initially.
Exactly. Don't get bogged down by the how or the money or the obstacles right away.
Just let the imagination lead.
Yes, because, everything humans have created, it started with someone imagining it first, right?
Good point. Okay, so you've got ideas. How do you get others excited? There's an exercise. Communication. Can you excite us? Find your voice. And it mentions speaking in gibberish.
Yeah, that one sounds a bit out there, doesn't it?
It does. How does speaking nonsense help?
Well, it's designed to hone a really vital skill, inspiring people through your clarity of thought and enthusiasm, even without understandable words.
Okay, I'm trying to picture this. You just make noises.
Essentially, yes. The idea is if you can vividly picture your concept, feel the passion, and convey that energy, that conviction.
Through tone, gestures, expression.
Exactly. Even without real words, you might still grab attention, make people feel your excitement.
The book compares it to actors.
Yeah, like actors performing in, say, Shakespeare or in ancient language. If the actor gets the meaning, paints that picture in their mind.
The audience often picks up on the feeling, even without understanding every word.
That's the parallel. It's about conveying the essence through passion and clarity.
Interesting technique. The book also suggests pitching to a child.
Oh, that's another great one for communication. Kids are brutally honest feedback machines, right?
They really are. No filter.
So if you can explain your concept, maybe even in gibberish or just simple terms, and keep a kid engaged, excited,
That's a good sign. Your core idea and your passion are landing.
their body language tells you everything. Are they leaning in or looking for the door?
Great litmus test. Okay, another exercise. Self-sufficiency or trial by fire. Sounds intense.
It is definitely meant to be immersive, very hands-on.
So what's the setup?
Basically, students have to create and self-produce something. Could be art, tech, a service, anything.
Okay.
And the specific goal is to make more money from it than they spent creating it.
Whoa, a real sink or swim challenge.
Pretty much. A trial by fire where they have to use a whole range of entrepreneurial skills for real.
So they ideate, produce, and sell. What are the learning goals here?
The book points to several things. Learning how to actually make something, critical thinking under pressure, budgeting.
Collaboration probably comes into it.
Almost certainly.
Yeah.
And importantly, reflection. Looking back at what worked, what didn't, how you even define success or failure in that context.
A very practical, comprehensive experience. Now, shifting to the market, visualizing the status quo. What's that about?
This one is about really understanding the current landscape, the field or market you're interested in.
The status quo meaning how things are now.
Exactly. Who are the players? What are the trends, technologies, customer perceptions? You research it, and then you present it visually.
Create a visual map of the current state. Why is that important for an entrepreneur?
Because the book argues entrepreneurs are change agents. They create a new status quo.
Okay.
In fact, it suggests that often the most successful entrepreneurs are the ones who actively destroy the old status quo.
Destroy. That sounds dramatic.
Well, it means significantly alter or transform it, at least for a while. There's a danger in just accepting how things are.
Because it limits your thinking.
It can stifle imagination, block innovation. The book even mentions creative destruction, the idea that progress often involves tearing down the old to build the new.
So don't just fit in, figure out how to shake things up. There's also competition matrix building, another visual tool.
Yeah, this one's focused specifically on competitors, understanding who they are, direct and indirect.
And then
Visually mapping out your competitive advantages against them, feature by feature, benefit by benefit.
so you can clearly show investors or partners how you're different.
Exactly. It's a quick, effective way to communicate your unique position. Ties back to that different and necessary idea again.
Right. Okay. Getting funding. Critical step. The book covers pitching exercises.
Yeah, a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Everything from super short 10-second pitches
10 seconds. Wow.
up to 2-minute, 30-second, 1-minute versions. Also, video pitches, peer-reviewed pitches where you get feedback.
Lots of practice formats.
The goal is getting comfortable and clear no matter the time limit.
And a mock crowdfunding campaign. How does that fit in?
That's a simulation. You go through the motions of setting up a campaign for a hypothetical product.
Defining goals. Making materials.
Right. But the book also highlights crowdfunding's strategic side, using it like a digital storefront.
To test demand before you build.
Exactly. Gauge interest, even start selling without a physical store. Plus, it can help with outsourcing manufacturing. You know how many units you need.
And payment processing is handled. Streamlines things.
So it's not just about the money. It can be a whole market entry strategy.
Interesting. What about formal planning? The book asks, are business plans necessary? Sounds potentially controversial.
It can be. This section uses interviews Hart did with active entrepreneurs.
And what do they say?
Well, interestingly, many launched without a formal plan.
Okay.
But the vast majority now think having one would have been better, and they generally advise making one.
So planning is still valuable, even if the format changes.
That seems to be the takeaway. Thoughtful planning matters.
And other exercises touch on planning too, like brochure collaboration and budget building.
Exactly. Brochure collaboration forces you to visually articulate your value prop really concisely.
And budget building is about getting real on costs.
Yeah, actually researching prices for materials, services, everything you need, grounding it in reality.
There's also one called Creating One's Path Visually Through Infographics. Startup to exit. Visualizing the whole journey.
Yeah. Encourages thinking long term, from starting up right through to a potential exit.
Mapping milestones, timeline, how you might eventually transition out.
Right. Helps set that overall strategic direction, those long-term goals.
And defensive plans. Sound like stress testing your ideas.
It is. You present your plan, your peers critique it, ask tough questions.
And you have to justify your assumptions.
Yep. Builds critical thinking, teaches you how to handle feedback constructively.
Okay, moving beyond solo planning. Networking. There's a game, Reaching the President. Ambitious.
Yeah, the point isn't actually reaching the president, it's to show the surprising scope of networks.
How connected we might be.
Exactly. Participants try to map connection chains within the group that could theoretically lead there. It shows how one connection potentially links everyone to a huge network.
A visual reminder of interconnectedness. And the book stresses networking is a two-way street.
Absolutely, not just asking for help, but offering it too. Reciprocity.
Building relationships based on mutual support.
Right. Actively build your network, look for ways to help others, and ask for help when you need it. Significantly expands your opportunities. There's even a specific networking game exercise for making connections.
Proactive and mutually beneficial.
Yeah.
Okay, nearly there. The book also talks about more internal stuff. Introspection. Reflection.
Yeah, really crucial, but easy to skip. Looking inward, understanding yourself, your motives, and reflecting on experiences.
Why is that so important for entrepreneurs?
It's key for spotting opportunities, learning from mistakes or successes, and adapting to market changes. Exercises like the infographic path or taking stock are designed for this.
Continuous learning and evolution. Finally, empathy and meaning.
Yes, it distinguishes empathy feeling with someone
Understanding their feelings.
from compassion feeling for someone wanting to help. Empathy is vital for understanding customer needs, putting yourself in their shoes.
And finding meaning.
The book has a really empowering take here. Meaning isn't just out there to be found. It's whatever you ascribe it to be.
So you create your own meaning through your work.
You have the agency to decide what's meaningful to you and infuse your work with that.
So entrepreneurship, it's not just about business metrics. It's about solving problems, connecting, creating personal significance too.
Precisely. The book offers this really rich toolkit for navigating that whole journey.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive, we've covered a lot from James Hart's classroom exercises for entrepreneurship. Unlocking creativity,
That crucial customer focus.
the power of actually doing things, experiential learning.
And the need for smart strategy, good connections.
Right, all essential parts of the entrepreneurial world.
And hopefully these insights, pulled right from the book, give you a solid foundation, whether you're launching something, innovating at work, or just want to think more entrepreneurially.
So here's a final thought for you listening. Which of these ideas, these exercises really clicked for you? Is there one concept that resonates with what you're working on or curious about right now?
Yeah, how could you maybe take just one small piece of this manual of risky behavior, as Hart playfully calls it, and apply it?
Apply it to your own projects, your career, maybe just how you approach learning something new. Definitely something to mull over.
We encourage you to explore these ideas further, see where they might lead.
And don't forget to subscribe to Revise and Resubmit on Spotify and Apple Podcasts for more captivating deep dives like this one. And if you're enjoying the show and want to support us in creating more insightful content, consider becoming a patron on Patreon. Every contribution helps us continue this journey of exploration and discovery. Until next time, keep those minds curious, keep questioning, and keep revising and resubmitting.